While I was looking for inspiration, I came across this really cool site where the images transition using a grid of random characters as a dissolve effect. Instead of a clean fade or a hard cut, the transition edge breaks apart into scattered text cells, dense at the center and noisy at the edges, almost like the image is being decoded or glitching out as it scrolls away. It had this raw, data-driven aesthetic that I really liked. Following that, I put together this mini experience where 5 full screen images are stacked on top of each other, and as you scroll, each one dissolves into the next through a band of orange character cells that sweeps down the screen. The technique is surprisingly simple at its foundation. There's no canvas or WebGL involved. It's just a grid of absolutely positioned div elements, each holding a random character, toggled between visible and hidden using some distance-based math tied to the scroll position. In this video, we'll build the whole thing from the ground up. I'll walk you through the HTML structure, the styling for the grid cells, and then the JavaScript where we generate the grid, calculate the dissolve band, and wire it all into a scroll-driven animation using GSAP, ScrollTrigger, and Linus. If you'd like to grab the source code for this project, along with hundreds of other similar micro projects and a brand new website template every month, you can check out the Pro membership via the link in the description. And if you find my work helpful, make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Alright, let's get into the code. First, I'll set up 3 sections, an intro, a spotlight, and an outro. The intro and outro are just bookends to give the page context before and after the main effect. The spotlight section in the middle is where everything happens. Now just so the intro and outro don't sit there empty, I'll drop a paragraph into each with some placeholder copy. Nothing fancy, just enough to fill the space. Now let's focus on the spotlight section. Inside it, I'll add 5 divs, each with the class spotlight image and each one wrapping a full image. These are the stacked full screen images that will transition between each other as the user scrolls. They all sit on top of one another. We'll handle the layering and clipping in CSS and JavaScript later. Finally, below the images, I'll add one more div with the class dissolve grid. This is the container for the character-based dissolve effect. It starts empty and will populate it entirely through JavaScript. Alright, that's all the HTML. Let's move on to styling. First of all, I'll pull in DM Mono from Google Fonts. That's the only typeface we need for this project. Then a quick global reset to zero out margins, paddings, and set box sizing to border box across everything. Images get set to fill their containers completely using object fit cover. And for the paragraph element, I'll apply DM Mono with uppercase text and a tight line height to get that clean monospaced look. Next, the base section styles. Every section takes up the full viewport height, sits relatively positioned, and hides any overflow. This applies to all 3 sections on the page. Then for the intro and outro specifically, I'll center their content using Flexbox, add some padding, and give them a dark background with white text. Simple and consistent. Now for the spotlight images, each one sits absolutely positioned, filling the entire section from corner to corner. I'll set the clip path to a full polygon covering the whole element. This is the default state, and we'll be manipulating this clip path through JavaScript to reveal and hide each image during the scroll. I'll also add will change on clip path to give the browser a heads up that this property will be animated. Then the dissolve grid container, same absolute positioning, full width and height, but sitting on top of everything at z-index 100. I'll also set pointer events to none so it doesn't interfere with anything underneath. Finally, the dissolve cell styles. These are the individual character cells that JavaScript will generate inside the grid. Each one is absolutely positioned with an orange background hidden by default using visibility hidden. They use DM Mono to match the rest of the page with black text centered inside using Flexbox. The visibility toggling is how the dissolve effect works. JavaScript will flip cells between visible and hidden as the scroll progresses rather than animating opacity or transforms. Alright, that covers all the styling. Let's get into the JavaScript now. First, I'll bring in everything we need, GSAP and the ScrollTrigger plugin from the GSAP package, and Linus for smooth scrolling. Then I'll register ScrollTrigger with GSAP. Required step, otherwise ScrollTrigger simply won't work. Next, I'll set up a new Linus instance and wire it up to GSAP sticker so both run in sync. This replaces the browser's native scroll with Linus's smooth scroll while keeping ScrollTrigger aware of the scroll position at every frame. The lag smoothing call at the end tells GSAP not to compensate for frame drops, keeping everything tight and in sync with the scroll. Now I'll define the configuration for the dissolve effect. First, the cell size. This controls how large each character block is in the grid. From that, I'll calculate how many columns and rows we need to fill the entire viewport. Then a series of values that control the shape and behavior of the dissolve band, how far it spreads above and below the transition edge, how much scatter gets applied to break up the edges, how dense the solid core stays, and a visibility threshold that determines when a cell appears or disappears. I'll also set the dissolve color to orange and define a string of characters that the cells will randomly pick from. Next, I'll grab the DOM elements, all the spotlight images as a collection, the dissolve grid container on its own, and a couple of derived values, the total number of images, and the total number of transitions between them, which is just one less than the image count. I'll also apply the dissolve color as a CSS custom property on the grid container so the style sheet can reference it. Then I'll loop through the stacked images and assign z-index values in reverse order. The first image gets the highest z-index, the last one gets the lowest. This way they naturally stack with the first image on top. I'll also calculate a font size for the dissolve characters based on the cell size and write a small helper function that returns a random character from our character set. Then I'll initialize two empty arrays, one for storing the cell data objects we'll use in calculations and another for storing references to the actual DOM elements. Now comes the grid generation. I'll loop through every row and column and for each position, create a new div element with the dissolve cell class. Each cell gets positioned absolutely based on its row and column size to match the cell dimensions, given a random character as its text content, and appended to the dissolve grid container. I'll also push a data object into the cells array that stores the row, column, and a normalized vertical position. That normalized value maps each cell's vertical location to a 0 to 1 range, which we'll use later to calculate its distance from the dissolve band. Next, I'll write a hash function. This takes a row, column, and seed value and returns a pseudo-random number between 0 and 1. It uses the same sign-based hashing trick you'd see in shader code, deterministic, so the same position always gives the same result, but chaotic enough to feel random. Using this function, I'll pre-calculate two values for every cell. The first is a random visibility threshold. This determines how dense the dissolve band needs to be at that cell's position before it becomes visible. The second is a scatter offset, a small positional nudge that breaks up the clean edges of the band and gives the dissolve that organic, noisy feel. Finally, I'll set up a variable to track which transition is currently active, starting at -1, and a small function that updates it whenever the transition index changes. We'll call this from inside the scroll handler to keep track of which image pair is currently dissolving. Alright, that's all the setup and grid generation done. Next, we'll write the actual animation functions and wire everything into the scroll trigger. Now let's write the core animation functions. The first one handles the image clip paths. It loops through each transition, figures out how far through that particular segment the scroll has progressed, and remaps that into a clip percentage. That percentage gets applied as a polygon clip path on each image, starting fully visible and gradually clipping away from the top down, revealing the image underneath. The spread above value offsets the starting point, so the clip begins slightly before the dissolve band arrives, keeping the two effects in sync. The second function is where the dissolve magic happens. This one runs through every single cell in the grid and decides whether it should be visible or hidden based on its distance from the band center. First, it calculates the raw distance between the cell and the band. Then it figures out how much scatter to apply. Cells close to the center of the band get minimal scatter to keep the core dense, while cells further out get the full scatter offset, breaking up the edges. After applying the scatter, it normalizes the distance against the spread values above and below. If a cell falls outside the band range entirely, it gets hidden immediately, and we skip to the next one. For cells inside the range, it calculates a density value using a quadratic fall-off, dense at the center, fading toward the edges. If that density exceeds the cell's pre-calculated random threshold, the cell becomes visible, otherwise it stays hidden. That combination of deterministic randomness and smooth fall-off is what gives the dissolve its organic, noisy texture. Then a simple utility function that hides every cell in the grid at once. We'll call this when no transition is actively happening, either before the first one starts or after the last one completes. I'll also calculate the total travel range by adding the spread above and spread below to a base value of 1. This represents the full distance the dissolve band needs to travel to completely cross the viewport. Now let's set up the scroll trigger. I'll create a new instance, point the trigger at the spotlight section, and tell it to start when the top of the section hits the top of the viewport. The endpoint is set to the total number of transitions multiplied by the viewport height. So with 5 images and 4 transitions, that's 4 full viewport heights of scrolling. I'll turn on pin and pin spacing so the section stays locked in place while the user scrolls through it, and set scrub to true so the scroll position drives everything directly. Inside the onUpdate callback, we get the current scroll progress on every frame. First, I'll figure out which transition is active by multiplying the progress by the total number of transitions and flooring it. Then I'll extract the local progress within that specific transition, a 0 to 1 value representing how far through the current image swap we are. If the transition index has changed since the last frame, I'll update the tracker. From that local progress, I'll calculate where the dissolve band center should sit vertically. Then a quick check if the transition progress is at 0 or at 1, meaning we're between transitions with nothing actively dissolving. I'll hide all the cells and just update the clip paths. No point running the dissolve math when there's nothing to show, otherwise both functions fire together. The clip paths update to reveal the next image, and the dissolve band renders its character cells right along the transition edge. The two effects work in lockstep, creating that seamless dissolve and reveal as the user scrolls through each image. And that's a wrap, a scroll-driven image dissolve built with GSAP, ScrollTrigger, Lenis, and a grid of character cells. No canvas, no WebGL, just DOM elements toggled by math. Hope you found the video helpful. See you in the next one.